It's really funny how we all have these beautifully polished answers ready to go for the big existential questions. Like if I were to stop you on the street right now, just tap you on the shoulder and ask, why are we here?
Wow.
What is the ultimate purpose of your life? You would probably give me a pretty profound answer. I mean, most of us have a theory, right?
Oh, absolutely. We all have that script ready.
Yeah, we have a core philosophy or maybe a religious belief or just a personal manifesto that we can articulate perfectly. You have this grand narrative about your existence. But imagine if someone were to secretly film you for a week.
That's a terrifying thought.
Right, just a hidden camera, watching how you spend your time, how you make your decisions, what you stress about at like 2 in the morning. Would that daily footage actually match your profound answer?
Yeah, probably not.
Or does the way we actually live our lives tell a completely different, maybe, slightly embarrassing story?
I mean, it is the ultimate human contradiction, isn't it? The canyon between our stated philosophy and our actual daily reality is, well, it's vast.
It really is.
We are remarkably good at compartmentalizing our lives just to avoid that cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
We keep our grand theories of existence in one very pristine intellectual box.
Like the safe box.
Exactly. And then we keep our daily habits, our immediate desires, our reactive emotions in a completely different, much messier box.
A reality box.
Right. And the defining feature of the human condition is that we rarely, if ever, let those two boxes actually interact.
Which brings us to the mission for today's deep dive. We're looking at a really fascinating, philosophically dense piece of source material that zeroes right in on that exact gap.
It really does.
Okay, let's unpack this. This text analyzes two very specific verses from the Quran, from the chapter called Al-Mu'minun, verses 115 and 116.
Yes, very specific verses.
And rather than just giving a surface level, theological reading, the author uses these verses to perform a deep psychological diagnosis of why we behave the way we do. Right? And more importantly, what our everyday actions are secretly screaming about our true core beliefs.
The author is essentially holding up a mirror to that secret footage of your week that you just mentioned.
Yeah, the embarrassing footage.
Exactly. We're going to look objectively at how this text breaks down our often contradictory relationship with life's ultimate meaning. So, it's an exploration of what happens when your daily operating system completely rejects your stated life's purpose.
And the way the text frames this issue is just so confronting. I mean, it introduces the core question directly from the first verse, Qur'an 23.115.
Goes right for the throat.
It really does. The verse asks, "Did you then think that we had created you without purpose and that you would not be brought back to us?"
Wow.
Just let the weight of that hang in the air for a second. It is a direct challenge to the internal assumptions we walk around with every single day.
The framing is meant to be jarring. And the text immediately identifies how we fracture our response to this question into two completely distinct categories. You've got the theoretical answer and the actual answer.
The two boxes.
Exactly, the two boxes. The theoretical answer, the one we would proudly say out loud if we were stopped on the street, is, well, of course not.
Right. I wasn't created without purpose.
Yeah. In this specific religious context, the theoretical understanding is that humans were created for a massive overarching purpose, which is the worship and recognition of God.
That's the grand design.
Right. You acknowledge you weren't created in vain. You have a designated, elevated role in the universe.
Right. That is the theory. That's the pristine box. But the reality of most people, except, as the text carefully notes, those who have been shown mercy, is entirely different.
It's completely flipped.
Yeah. The actual answer, the one reflected by our daily footage, is essentially, well, we were created to enjoy life. We are here to fulfill our desires in this incredibly short existence.
YOLO, basically.
Exactly. We only have one life, so the ultimate goal is just to live it as comfortably and happily as possible.
The practical reality completely discards the theoretical purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, we operate on a minute-by-minute basis as if the ultimate endgame of our existence is simply personal satisfaction.
Yeah, feeling good.
Right? We prioritize the immediate gratification of our desires, avoiding minor discomforts and accumulating fleeting pleasures over absolutely any overarching spiritual or existential mandate.
The best way I can picture this disconnect is by thinking about a company's mission statement versus its actual office culture.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, so imagine walking into the lobby of a massive corporate headquarters. There's this huge, beautifully backlit plaque on the wall that says something like, Our mission is to revolutionize global communication, foster deep human connection, and uplift humanity.
Very noble.
Right, that's the theoretical answer. That's the pristine box. But then, you badge in, you take the elevator up to the actual office floor, and the reality is just people trying to survive the day.
Fighting over the thermostat?
Yes. They're fighting over who left a dirty mug in the break room sink. They're engaged in petty turf wars over parking spots. And everyone is literally just counting down the minutes until 5 o'clock.
It's just survival mode.
Exactly. The daily reality on the floor has absolutely nothing to do with the majestic plaque in the lobby. The employees are just trying to maximize their own perks and minimize their discomfort.
What's fascinating here is that when the plaque is that divorced from the daily culture, you end up with a fundamentally toxic environment.
Oh, 100%. It breeds cynicism.
Right. And the author of this text applies that exact same logic to the human soul. The text doesn't just, judge us for failing to live up to the plaque. It actually digs into the hidden psychology of that toxicity.
It goes deeper.
It does. The central question becomes, what must you secretly believe about the universe if you are completely ignoring the mission statement and only focusing on your own immediate petty desires?
And this is where the text hits you with a truth that feels incredibly uncomfortable. Like, it dives into the subconscious assumption we are making when we live purely for our own comfort.
This is the heavy part.
It really is. The text argues that if you live your life solely to fulfill your own desires and just, be happy, you are subconsciously assuming that you were actually created for nothing.
Yes.
That your existence is entirely in vain.
The desire-driven lifestyle reveals a hidden, deeply seated premise. Look, if you truly believed, like in your bones, that you had a designated great purpose assigned by a creator, your life's trajectory would naturally orient around that gravity.
You would pull everything toward it.
Exactly. But by acting as if your only job on Earth is to invent your own happiness, you are operating as if you were handed a completely blank slate.
Right.
You're assuming that your creation was fundamentally without a specific higher directive.
Wait, hold on. I have to push back on this a little bit because it feels like a massive leap.
I get that.
Are we really saying that by just wanting to, enjoy my weekend or wanting to buy a nice cup of coffee or wanting to go on a comfortable vacation, I am secretly declaring that my existence is entirely meaningless?
It sounds extreme.
It feels like an extreme accusation. I'm not making a profound theological statement by wanting a quiet Sunday morning. I'm just tired and trying to relax.
The pushback is natural, absolutely, because the conclusion is intimidating. But let's follow the author's logic here, because the text is drawing a very specific line between authority and purpose.
Okay, authority and purpose.
Yeah. The text posits that if you operate as if you have no set divine purpose, you naturally feel you possess the complete right to invent your own ultimate goals.
Because no one else is setting them for you.
Exactly. And what is the raw material we use to invent those goals? Our personal desires. We make ourselves the ultimate, unchecked authority on what our life should be about.
Wow, okay.
And the author identifies this specific stance as a great negative assumption or a deeply poor thought about God.
A negative assumption. Because I am taking the pen and trying to write my own story.
Because of what that implies about the author of the universe.
Yeah.
It implies that the creator made you, a highly complex, conscious feeling being just for play or for absolutely no reason at all.
Like a toy.
Right. It assumes that the sovereign of the universe engages in frivolous, purposeless action. If you live your life as if you were created for nothing, you are essentially insulting the wisdom of the creator.
Oh, wow.
Through your daily actions, you are saying, you made me without a point, so I have to make up my own point just to get through the day.
I have to fix your oversight.
Yes. It reduces the grandeur of creation to a cosmic accident or a trivial game, which you then have to desperately salvage by chasing your own fleeting desires.
Wow. Okay, when you frame it like that, the gravity of it really lands. It's not about the coffee or the vacation themselves.
No, not at all.
Those are just things. It's about the fundamental orientation of your life. If your entire operating system is built on the premise that you are the sole arbiter of your life's meaning, you are implicitly denying that an ultimate reality already imbued you with one. You're assuming the universe is just this empty, chaotic playground.
And that assumption creates an immense psychological burden.
It really does. Like, if you are listening to this right now, maybe on your commute or while you're, doing chores around the house, just think about the underlying hum of anxiety in modern life.
Oh, okay. It's everywhere.
Think about that Sunday night dread Or the feeling of endlessly scrolling on your phone trying to find a momentary hit of dopamine? The text is suggesting that this isn't just modern burnout, it is the psychological symptom of a spiritual
A
crisis.
deep spiritual crisis.
Yeah, you might be staring at your steering wheel right now, realizing that your frantic pursuit of the next good feeling is actually a manifestation of a secret belief that your life has no inherent anchor.
That is the exact existential dread the author is diagnosing here. When you assume a blank slate, you carry the impossible weight of having to generate your own meaning out of thin air, using only your desires as a compass.
And desires change.
Human desires are notoriously fickle. But if we accept this diagnosis, that living purely for desire is an insult to the Creator and a trap for the human psyche, what does that leave us?
Right, how do we fix it?
How does the text resolve this tension? Well, it requires a massive cognitive alignment, which the author brings in by analyzing the very next verse in the Quran, verse 116.
Right, right. Let me bring that verse in because it acts as the definitive counterweight to this whole blank slate mindset.
It's the perfect rebuttal.
Yeah, the text cites Quran 23.116 says, "So exalted is Allah, the sovereign, the truth. There is no deity except Him, Lord of the noble throne."
So, how do you reconcile a meaningful existence with the reality of the universe? You have to look at the attributes claimed by the Creator.
The titles used in the verse.
Yes. Notice the specific titles highlighted here. The Sovereign, the Truth, Lord of the Noble Throne. The text uses this verse to categorically crush that subconscious assumption we were just unpacking.
It just shatters it.
Completely.
Yeah.
It elevates the Creator far above the idea of having made something merely in vain, for amusement, or without a deliberate end. A sovereign of ultimate truth does not engage in absurdity.
It's a reality check. I mean, it's meant to snap you out of that self-centered delusion where you think you are just floating in a void, making up your own rules as you go.
Right.
The verse asserts ultimate order, majesty, and truth. It's asking you, like, look at the sheer scale and sovereignty of the reality that made you. Do you honestly believe a being described like this spun you into existence so you could chase the latest consumer trend for a few decades and then disappear into the dirt?
The majesty of the Creator absolutely precludes the idea of a purposeless creation. If you accept the theoretical answer that this sovereign, deliberate Creator exists, you can no longer logically justify living the actual answer, where you treat life as a frivolous pursuit of your own impulses.
The two boxes again.
Exactly. The two boxes we talked about at the beginning. This verse forces you to open them both and realize they cannot coexist. You cannot believe in a sovereign truth and simultaneously live as a cosmic accident.
So if my pristine theoretical box is supposed to dictate my messy daily box, what does this all mean for happiness?
The million-dollar question.
Because if I am processing this, I might be feeling a little defensive right now.
Very understandably.
I might be thinking, okay, so I have this profound, heavy, overarching purpose of worship and divine alignment. Does that mean being happy is actually a bad thing?
Right.
Am I supposed to be miserable and ascetic just to prove that I am fulfilling my higher purpose? Do I have to abandon joy? Because honestly, that sounds incredibly bleak.
The author of the text completely anticipates that reaction. It is the most common defense mechanism when our desires are challenged.
Oh, for sure.
But the text immediately provides a crucial, nuanced clarification. Islam is not against happiness in itself. It is not a call to perpetual misery, and it certainly doesn't demand ascetic deprivation.
Okay, that's a relief.
In fact, the text asserts that the revelation actually promises happiness to those who align with it.
Okay, so happiness is allowed. It's even promised. But if that is the case, what is the problem with our actual way of living if all we are doing is just trying to be happy?
The problem lies in a subtle but massive paradigm shift. The text points out that our practical, everyday way of living elevates happiness to the ultimate goal.
We make it the main thing.
Exactly. We make it the destination, we make it the finish line.
Ah, I see. It is the distinction between happiness as a goal versus happiness as a fruit.
Yes. The text argues powerfully that happiness is meant to be a byproduct, a natural fruit of a well-oriented life, not the primary objective you set out to hunt down.
Let me try out an analogy here to really visualize this shift, because I think the mechanics of this are just so important.
Let's hear it.
It is the difference between trying to build a tree out of apples versus planting a seed, nurturing the root system, and letting the apples grow naturally.
Oh, the apple analogy works perfectly here because it highlights the exact mechanism of the problem. You cannot tape fruit to a dead branch.
Exactly. If your ultimate solitary goal is just, I want apples, which represents happiness, and you focus only on the apples, you are going to spend your entire life running around with glue and tape, frantically trying to stick apples onto dead branches.
Just sticking dopamine hits everywhere.
Yes, you are obsessing over the fruit directly. And think about how exhausting that is. The tape fails, the apples rot, you have to keep buying new apples, and at the end of the day, the tree is still dead.
It's a complete illusion of growth.
That is what happens when happiness is your primary goal. You are just taping dopamine hits to a hollow life.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that is the psychological treadmill of modern life. Human desires are infinite, and they are constantly shifting.
You always want more.
Right. If your life's singular purpose is to satisfy desires to achieve happiness, you are on a treadmill that literally never stops. You will always need more things, different things, or better things just to maintain that fleeting feeling.
But if you change the paradigm, if you focus on the root system instead,
The soil.
yes, if you focus on your actual assigned purpose, nurturing the soil, which in the context of this text is the worship and alignment with the sovereign truth, then the tree actually grows.
Because it's alive.
Right. And because the tree is fundamentally healthy, because it is rooted in its proper purpose, the apples, meaning the happiness, the peace, the contentment, they naturally grow as a fruit.
They're inevitable.
Yeah, they are a byproduct of that foundational health. Happiness was never supposed to be the tree itself. It is just the fruit that blossoms when you are firmly rooted in your actual purpose.
When you make happiness the goal, you set yourself up for a permanent existential crisis. By treating it as the ultimate destination rather than a byproduct, we ironically end up losing the very meaning of our existence.
It backfires completely.
It does. We become prisoners to our own shifting moods, constantly evaluating our lives based on whether we feel good in any given moment.
Which is exhausting.
Very. But according to the text, when you realign your life so that your primary goal is your actual grand purpose, you find immense stability. You're tending to the roots.
Yeah.
And the profound promise of the revelation is that happiness will naturally emerge from that stability. It becomes a sustainable, regenerating fruit, rather than a frantic, elusive prize you have to keep hunting.
That distinction changes absolutely everything about how you approach your morning. I mean, it means you don't wake up tomorrow asking, what will make me happy today?
Right, that question is a trap.
It totally is. You wake up asking, how do I fulfill my purpose today? How do I align with the truth today? Trusting entirely that the contentment will follow as a natural consequence of doing the right thing.
It is a complete inversion of modern society's default setting. I mean, we are relentlessly bombarded with messaging telling us to chase joy, chase satisfaction, pursue your own truth, find your happiness directly.
It's in every commercial.
Literally every commercial. And this text is offering a devastating critique of that modern condition, rooted in ancient revelation. It diagnoses our endless, exhausting pursuit of desires as a subconscious symptom of existential despair, a secret, lingering belief that we were made for nothing, and therefore we have to make up for it by feeling good all the time.
Which brings us beautifully full circle to where we started, the gap between what we say and what we do.
It's been quite the journey today.
We really have gone on quite a journey through this source material. I mean, we started by looking at that grand, pristine, theoretical purpose we all claim to hold, and we held it up against the harsh, desire-driven reality of our daily footage.
The lobby plaque versus the break room.
Exactly. We unpacked the uncomfortable, jarring truth that the text presents, that living only for ourselves isn't just selfish, it is a subconscious assumption that we were created in vain, which is a massive slight against a sovereign creator.
A huge assumption.
And finally, we looked at how this framework doesn't banish happiness to the shadows, but it simply reclassifies it. It moves happiness from being the exhausting, impossible destination we are constantly running toward to being the natural, beautiful byproduct of a life firmly rooted in genuine purpose.
It is a remarkable piece of analysis from the author, packing in incredible amounts of psychological and theological depth into the commentary on just 2 verses.
It's mind-blowing.
It completely dismantles the artificial walls we build between our theories and our habits, and it challenges the listener to really honestly examine their underlying assumptions about the universe.
It really does. And for you listening, it highlights how incredibly easy it is for all of us to fall into this trap. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens in the mundane moments.
The little decisions.
Yeah. We let our daily actions, our habits, our endless scrolling, our relentless pursuit of comfort literally rewrite our life's core philosophy without us even noticing the shift.
We forget the mission statement entirely.
We walk into the lobby, we look at the beautiful plaque on the wall, and we tell ourselves we still believe it. But our actions on the office floor prove we have fully bought into the idea that we are just here to play, survive, and leave.
And that leads to a thought I would like to leave you with, building on that crucial distinction between the goal and the fruit.
Oh, yeah, let's hear it.
If you were to conduct a ruthless audit of your own schedule tomorrow, if you really looked at where your physical energy, your time, and your mental bandwidth are actually going hour by hour, what would that footage show?
Ouch. That's a tough question.
It is. How much of your time is spent frantically chasing the fruit directly? How much of your day is just exhausting yourself trying to glue apples onto dead branches?
Just taping on dopamine hits.
Exactly. Versus how much of your day is actually spent quietly, diligently tending to the roots of your true purpose, trusting the sovereign truth to let the fruit grow on its own time.
Wow. That is a question that sticks with you long after the day is done. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We always appreciate you taking the time to explore these big, challenging ideas with us. Until next time, take a long, honest look at your own tree and see what you are actually trying to grow.